Overlord Season 4 Episode 10, and I have finally caught up to the latest episodes after missing 3 weeks of doing episode reviews. Not because I wanted to, but because I have other things going on in my real life. But like I said already, fortunately enough, I have caught up to the anime. I will start the episode by saying that, just as I said in the last episode, Ainz was basically calm about, the Red Warrior appearing. That is part of the drop of Red. In the last episode, I think they were called Vermilion Dropper or Dropper Vermilion, something like that. But in this episode, they changed the name to Dropper Red. I actually don't think they changed the name. I think it was the subtitle that changed the name. But yeah, I called him something else. And in this episode, he is called being part of the Drop of Red. So I think that is how I will call that group of adventurers from now on, the Drop of Red. And yeah, like I said in the last episode, Ainz was all calm, thinking that that it was part of his plan. That this adventure from the Drop of Red was something that he expected. But of course, that is not the case. Ainz didn't actually expect to get beaten that easily, or at least his undead warriors to get beaten that easily. And he was pretty shocked in this episode to see a power suit from Yggdrasil suddenly appear. But to be honest, throughout the whole episode, we also learned that one of the reasons why I sent little warriors to the current village he's basically attacking is because, well, he doesn't actually want to destroy the whole village. He wants to let some villagers live. Because like we learned in the last episode, he made a promise to Pestonia and to Nigredo to basically let some people live. And that is one of the reasons why he sent few undead and only 2 undead warriors to the village. We also learned that the Adamantite adventure that we saw in the last episode, at the end of the last episode, and in this episode, which I think is actually related to Lakyus, which is his uncle. I actually think that was the one that was shown, the red suit armor guy. I think that was actually Lakyus' uncle, Azuth, if I'm not mistaken is his name. I don't know if I'm correct in that, but I think it was implied in the episode that he was the one that appeared in the battlefield, or maybe it was someone else. But yeah, at least Azuth is part also of the Drop of Red, if he's not the one that was in the red suit. But yeah, we get introduced to him. Like I said already, he is the uncle of Lakyus. And basically the Drop of Red and Blue Rose unite to basically plan out a strategy to defeat the Sorcerer Kingdom and to defeat Ainz. And interestingly enough, we get introduced to new characters. We get introduced to the Black Scripture of the Theocracy, which is actually pretty interesting. It is actually pretty interesting to see that out of nowhere they get introduced the Black Scripture. We have heard about them in past episodes in this season about how they are strong, and not as strong as the God King, of course, but they are strong, and they are supposedly heroic elite warriors of the Theocracy, and we get introduced to them. And the current leader of the Black Scripture is Qua, which reminds me a lot about, the bandit that we saw, the girl bandit that we saw, I think it was in the first or second season, that Ainz humiliated. I don't know if they are related, but they are definitely very, very similar, so I wouldn't be surprised if they are related. I forget her name, but yeah, it was one of the most gruesome deaths and one of the most cool deaths that we saw in Overlord. The Blue Rose is actually pretty surprised and scared when they see them suddenly appearing. Apparently they are there to basically monitor them, to scout them, to see how they are performing. They actually are nice, at least Qua is nice. Appears to be nice. I don't know if he has other intentions, but he actually offers himself and his party to help the kingdom. Like I said already, they probably have other intentions in mind, but at least in this episode of how they were portrayed as peaceful people, as not that aggressive people. Of course, again, I say this, I don't think that is the case. They have other motives in mind, but they are not explained, at least in this episode yet. And almost, I think at the latter part of the episode, we get a very interesting talk between Prince Zanac and Ainz. And some people may not consider this talk to be that interesting or that important, but I actually think it was actually pretty important for the anime, because for starters, we get the answer to one of the most important questions that I personally have had since the first season, to be honest, and probably many people have had throughout the whole seasons, which is what is Ainz' motive, what is his goal, what is his motivation. And we get the answer in this talk that he has with Prince Zanac. And basically his whole motive is to make, well, his people happy. That is basically it. That is a pretty simple answer, a pretty expected answer, but at the same time it is actually a pretty deep answer. It is actually pretty interesting. It speaks a lot about Ainz, about what he wants to do and why he has been acting the way he has throughout the whole fourth season and the previous seasons, because like I said already, we hadn't actually had an answer of his motivation of why he was doing the thing he was doing. And yeah, in this episode it was explained that it was because he's trying to make everybody around him happy. And yeah, that is simply it. That is simply the reason of him acting that way. I actually think he's telling the truth. I actually think he's trying to make everybody around him happy. He is Sorcerer Kingdom, Albedo, Tbh, and everybody else, happy, and the Tomb of Nazareth happy, because he probably thinks that is what his other real life friends would have wanted to do. So I actually don't think he's lying when he said that. And even Prince Zanac is surprised by the answer of Ainz. At first he's angry because he gave a simple solution, a pretty simple solution of why he was doing the thing he was doing. But then, he started to understand a little bit more why Ainz was acting the way he was acting. And at the end of the talk they had, he pretty much basically saw Ainz as a human being, as acting simply not as a cruel person, but as a person that wanted the best for his kingdom. He thought that he was not being hypocritical, because I think he thought that that is what everybody else would have done. Not only Ainz, but everybody else in his place would have done. For example, if he was in his place, or if his father was in his place, or if another mysterious person, unknown person was in Ainz's place, would have done. It is not simply that Ainz is the person that is doing that because that is his nature. No, it is because that is basically what everybody else would have done. Everybody else looks out for happiness. And of course, right after this, we get a little funny scene, because we get this deep talk between Ainz and between Prince Zanac, only just for him to get killed in the following scenes. That is why it is pretty funny to me, because yeah, we have this deep, serious talk, and then in a couple of scenes he gets killed because there is a rebellion in his own side. And I mean, Ainz gets shown the head of Prince Zanac, and he's pretty disappointed, to be honest. He's pretty mad also, and he basically, in a way, forgives, but not really, the people that killed Prince Zanac, because he sends them all to the Nearness. And of course we know that he sent them there because he is actually not planning to do good things with them. He's not actually planning to pardon them. He's actually planning to make them suffer, basically to torture them. He in a way forgives them all and lets them live, but not really. I mean, after a couple of days they are going to wish they are dead, if we are being honest. And yeah, I mean, it is pretty shocking how we get this talk, and then a couple of scenes later it all goes down because Prince Zanac now is dead, which I actually didn't expect that was going to happen, not only in this episode but in the whole fourth season. I didn't think he was going to die, especially not this early. So yeah, I mean, he's dead now. I wonder how everybody else will react, how Princess Renner will react, because we know that she is pretty close to Prince Zanac. I mean, we don't actually know if she actually cares for him. I actually don't think that's the case, but she will definitely have some sort of reaction. We also have to see the king's reaction. I don't know if he will get the full details of how he was killed. I don't know if they will lie and tell him that the Sorcerer Kingdom killed him, or if it was his own, people that killed him, because that could change how the king responds. But either way, whatever information he gets told, I still think that will make him really, really sad and really angry also. And I think he will go all out against the Sorcerer Kingdom now that Prince Zanac is dead. So yeah, I mean, let's see how he will react, the king. But I especially, like I said already, wants to see how Princess Renner react. Will she feel sorry for everything that she has done until this point, or will she simply not care and follow through with all the things that she has been doing until this point? Probably that, to be honest. But yeah, let's see what happens in the next episode. And apparently Ainz had lost interest in this whole war. He basically now will take a passive role. He has lost interest. That is kind of sad because I actually want to see Ainz take a more active role and be out in the field fighting. So hopefully him saying that doesn't imply that he will not fight now of what remains of the fourth season. Hopefully he can still have a little fight. But yeah, that is everything I wanted to say about this episode. I probably forgot something important, but that is mainly the most important thing that happened throughout this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed my review, and I guess I'll see you all in the next episode review.